Derby County travel to the Riverside on Saturday afternoon as they face up against Michael Carricks Middlesbrough. John Eustace is still looking for that elusive first win of Derby County's tenure, as well as the first win for Derby County since Boxing Day at home versus West Bromwich Albion. Middlesbrough haven't been in the greatest form themselves, but they've redeemed themselves over last night with a victory over Stoke City. And Derby County find themselves still chasing that elusive victory. Both teams have some injury doubts ahead of this one, as well as some doubts in the league table. We're going to take a look into all of that within this video. So shall we get into it? Obviously, the game kicks off 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, and Derby County have a whole host of injury worries, potentially missing up to 7 players this weekend, with the already known injuries to Corey Blackett-Taylor, Curtis Nelson, Dejon Brown, and Kane Wilson. It's a difficult situation for Derby because now you add David Ozo, you add Nat Phillips, you add Matt Clark to that list of potential doubts heading into this game against Middlesbrough. And where did Derby County go? Where did Derby County turn? And what does John Eustace decide to do? Now, I spoke a little bit earlier on today and yesterday about Jake Rooney and the potential that he could fill that midfield role, or maybe even a role in the back four, and that's something which I think Derby County really need to look at. We have a ton of youth prospects through the club, and a lot of them aren't getting used, and for me that's quite disappointing, and I think some of them deserve opportunities to at least see if they can hit the levels needed to play for Derby County's first team in the Championship. We then move over to Middlesbrough's issues of their own. They've got about 8 players out, with the likes of Solomon Bryn, Senny DeYang, Riley McGee, Jonathan Howson, Darragh Lenihan, Ben Doak and Alex Bangura, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Michael Carrick sets up his side. Now, obviously, if we want to talk about recent form, up until yesterday evening, Derby County could say that they were in better form than Middlesbrough were, but after last night, they can't. Middlesbrough won 3-1 against Stoke City in a very important game for them, very important for their playoff chances and their sort of push for a potential promotion race. But before that, they'd lost 5, 6, maybe 7 in a row, with a 2-1 defeat to Bristol City, 1-0 defeat against Watford, 3-1 versus Sheffield United, and a 3-2 defeat versus Sunderland in their previous 5. We head on over to Derby, and it's just 2 points in the last 5, and it's 2 points since Boxing Day as well for Derby County, with 3 defeats in their last 5 coming against Millwall, QPR and Sheffield United. Obviously that change of managers come in that period as well, where Paul Warne has been moved aside for the new man in John Eustace, but is it going to make much difference? Now, we obviously do have to take a look at the league table. Middlesbrough now find themselves in 11th place after that victory last night on 47 points. 4 points behind Blackburn Rovers in that playoff push. Whereas then you look at Derby County, 23rd place, 34 games played, 29 points. They're 4 points from safety, and the gap to 20th place has now risen up to 6 points. It looks as if it's a 5. In my opinion, up to 16th place, everyone's sort of in that relegation scrap. But obviously, a lot can change over the course of a couple of games. A lot can change over the course of a few weeks with some injuries and doubts heading into the weekend's fixtures. Who is going to be that team to sort of take advantage this weekend? Obviously, Derby County face up against Middlesbrough. You've got Plymouth facing up against Hull City. You've got Stoke and Cardiff facing Watford and Burnley. Luton Town and Pompey go head-to-head, and Oxford face Coventry. So there's a big opportunity for Derby County. If they pick up 3 points, they could find themselves in 22nd place, just a point behind maybe Hull City, or it would probably be 2 points actually if we take a draw. If they take a draw in that game, and obviously if Pompey beat Luton, it keeps them rooted to the bottom. So there's some big opportunities for both teams here, because Middlesbrough with 3 points at the weekend could find themselves rising as high as 7th, whereas if they lose, they could drop all the way to 13th, maybe 14th place, depending on results elsewhere. Now, if we look at the home form for Middlesbrough, it's 17 games, 7 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses. 26 points on the board heading into this one. They sit in mid-table for home form. And if we go away form, Derby County are 22nd in the league. 17 games, 1 win, 5 draws and 11 defeats. 8 points on the board for Derby County. So it looks as if it's pretty much all said and done, really. Middlesbrough should take the victory on this one. And this is one of the reasons why I spoke a lot throughout the summer and across the course of this season about Derby County's record in League One, the away record victories that we took and things like that needed to really be ignored, because it was a much lower division. Derby County are in a much different position, and we go away from home in the Championship and can't even buy a victory really. And that victory that we took against Coventry, which obviously got rid of Mark Robbins out of his job, was obviously a really good one, but we never built on it. We was never able to go and pick up any other victories, and obviously that's one of the reasons why we're in the position we are in. Now, we've also spoke over the last few days about potential free agents coming in, and there is free agents out there for Derby County to potentially sign, but as of 2 o'clock on Wednesday, as I'm recording this video, no free agents have been signed. So Derby County go into it with a very, very injury hit squad, and John Eustace has a massive job in his hands to turn this around. Now, if we go back to the start of the season under Paul Warne, Derby County performed the perfect snatch and grab. A 1-0 victory on the 17th of August at Pride Park Stadium. A Caden Jackson counter-attack beat the final man after Isaiah Jones did a poor back pass and then snuck around the goalkeeper and put the ball into the back of the net. But if we look at the head-to-heads, it's 10 wins for Middlesbrough, 6 draws and 7 wins for Derby County. It's not really a popular game for Derby. If we go back to 2022, Middlesbrough beat Derby 4-1 in this exact same fixture. If we go back to 2020, it was 3-0 away from home, 2-2 back in January of 2020. So Derby County haven't beat Middlesbrough, obviously, since that game back in August. But away from home, we haven't beat Middlesbrough since 2017 on the 25th of November, with goals scored by Mate Vidra. 3 goals for Mate Vidra in a lineup which an unbelievable team: Keogh, Davis, Forsyth, Baird, Huddleston, Lawrence, Vyman, Vidra, Ledley. You look at the players on the bench: Chris Martin, George Thorne, Johnny Russell, Andre Wisdom, Marcus Olsen, and obviously we've seen a massive change in Derby County's fortunes over the course of recent years. And if we do obviously take a look at that squad that Middlesbrough have, we take a look at some of the numbers behind it. Obviously Latte Laff moving on to the MLS, but Tommy Conway has stepped up in his absence. Finn Azaz has had an absolutely unbelievable season, 9 goals, 10 assists as he heads into this one. The best player for them is currently Hayden Hackney, closely followed by Finn Azaz and Luke Ayling, but you can all have your say on that one. And obviously, if we take a look into Derby County's situation, I showed you the squad depth chart just a couple of videos ago, and it's not looking great. If I've still got it saved, I'll put it up on the screen for you, because Derby County look in a really, really difficult position. And we obviously look, the back four pretty much creates itself at the moment. Niambi at right back, it's going to be Langas and Fozzie centre half, probably Elder or Osborne at left back, depending if Elder's fit. Obviously we don't know if he is, so it's a really difficult situation. You then go to the midfield, you've not really got many options. It's Osborne, Adams, Kenzo, Armstrong, Thompson, Harness. They're sort of your midfield options that are available, and you probably go for Ibu, Kenzo and Ozzy. But are you going to chuck in a Liam Thompson? Could you chuck in an Armstrong? Could you even chuck in a Jake Rooney in that midfield, which is something I spoke about a few days ago? And then the forward line, Kmar Roof has to start. I don't know if he's fit, I don't know if he's ready to start, but realistically, Kmar Roof has to start, because we've got nothing. We need a change, we need something different, and he's the only one that's not played for us yet, and might have a little bit of confidence in being able to find the back of the net. Obviously, you've got Lars Jorgen Selverson, Jerry Yates, Barkhazen, Mendes Lang, and Caden Jackson. Connor Washington is fit, but has been deregistered, and realistically, there's no one really that Middlesbrough need to look out for. We haven't scored since Cardiff away, which was Jorgen Selverson on the 25th of January. Obviously you got the Yates goal as well from the penalty, but I mean in like actual play, we haven't scored since the 25th of January, and then at home we haven't scored since the West Brom game, which is obviously disappointing. Now obviously I've spoken a few times about takeovers and things like that, and I certainly think that's something which Derby County needs. So if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, hit the like button as well. Check out my previous video all about why I believe Derby County need a takeover. Also check out my video about the run-in which is coming up for Derby County. It's a very, very difficult run, starting off versus Middlesbrough this weekend. So if you have not done so already, hit the subscribe button, let me know your thoughts down below, hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one.